last video I talked about the show. I think I titled that video X-Men 97, or no, Geeking Out over X-Men 97 or Geeking Out about X-Men 97. Well, anyways, this is a follow-up to that video where yeah, I'm going to talk about the remaining episodes that I didn't get a chance to talk about yet. So in the previous video, I covered episodes 1 through 5, and episode 5 ended on a bang. It was titled Remember It. It was one of the most awesome things I've seen in X-Men animation, but also the most saddest thing I've ever seen, because spoilers, there's going to be, yeah, that's right, I'm going to be talking about a lot of spoilers here, so spoilers. But anyways, it was a sad episode also because we lost Gambit, so it's always sad to see an X-Men get deceased, especially one of my favorite X-Men members, damn it. But it was an awesome sacrifice, the way he went out. I was like, oh man, awesome but sad. Alright, so that leaves us with episodes 6, 7, and 8 to talk about, and I'm gonna breeze through a lot with episodes 6 and 7, because I really want to talk about X-Men 8 with all the cameos. Or episode 8. Did I say X-Men 8 or episode 8? Blah. Sorry, I'm losing my mind here because I was just so excited after what I just saw. Alright, so episode 6, titled Life Death Part 2. Pretty much what I predicted. In the last video I did about the show, I predicted Storm's going to get her powers back, and she did. She pretty much gets tormented by this demon/mutant called the Adversary, which, if I remember correctly, looks a lot different in the comics, because this giant owl mutant/demon thing, I was like, I don't recognize this thing from the comics. But then again, I haven't kept up with every comics. But she's tormented by this thing throughout the entire episode, and she eventually gets her powers back. She becomes a Omega level mutant again. She gets her classic black outfit out of nowhere. That's not explained. It was just cartoon logic, because, you know, with cartoon logic, things just happen with no explanation. But also in this episode, we get to see Charles Xavier chilling out in outer space with the Shi'ar Empire, because he has this little romantic fling with the Empress, and I guess the whole plan was to get married. But in order for this marriage to go through, he has to give up his memories of his past life, including his memories of the X-Men. He didn't want to do that. That causes, I guess, more conflict within the Shi'ar Empire, with Leandra and her sister. Also, we get to see Gladiator, which is pretty much Leandra's bodyguard. Or no, not Leandra. Is Gladiator Leandra's bodyguard? Well, I know he ends up protecting her quite a bit. Well, anyways, he didn't want to give up his memories. Long story short, he uses his powers to put everyone in the astral plane, and he tries to schools them. He tries to educate them about some things. But this all gets abrupted by a vision of a giant skeleton version of Gambit, and he just passes out, and he's like, oh yeah, I gotta go back to Earth, sorry, can't get married to you. So that's pretty much what happens in episode 6. So quick summary: Storm gets her powers back and her classic black outfit, and we also see Professor X alive and well with the Shi'ar Empire, but he wants to go back to Earth because he had a horrible vision, right? Alright, so this leads us to episode 7, titled Bright Eyes. Because of who shows up at the end of the episode, I was like, oh, that makes sense. The clever title, clever wording for this episode. So basically, this episode is about Rogue going rogue, because she's pissed off that she lost both men that she loved dearly, Magneto and Gambit. She goes to this military base. She is messing up all these tanks and military equipment and all these soldiers. And we get a cameo, our first cameo, of General Ross. And he's just chilling out like, hey, don't worry, this bunker was built to withstand the power of the Hulk. And she breaks through it with ease and just picks him up by his shirt. looking for leads to Trask, because that's who she's trying to track down, is Trask, who was responsible for Master Mold, but also somewhat responsible for the Genosha massacre. So she flies off after she gets some information, and she meets up with our second cameo, Captain America. And I was being giddy as hell because like, it's Captain America, in his comic book accurate outfit, But anyways, he's also looking for Trask, but he wants to do things by the book. She does not want to do things by the book, so she gets a little salty about that. She flies up in the air with his shield and chucks his shield into the mountain, and he's just staring up at her like, you bitch. He doesn't say that, but you can tell that's what he was thinking. I thought it was pretty funny. So I forgot what country she ends up flying to get some more leads about Trask. But she finds another, not lackey of Trask, but a partner, I guess, of Trask. Gets some information out of him, but she quickly she quickly meets up with the rest of her teammates, the rest of the X-Men. They have a touching moment with each other where Nightcrawler is sharing some touching words with her. It's a nice little somber moment. So they get some more leads, and Trask is like, X-Men, come to this location quickly, because I have information that you're looking for. And Morph is like, yeah, hold up. This guy's responsible for the Genosha massacre, and he wants us to waltz right to his location. This could possibly be a trap. But they agree to go to his location anyways. And he's about to off himself by jumping off the side of the building. But Rogue stops him. She catches him in mid-jump, right? And she wants some more information from him, and he's like, sorry, I have nothing. And Rogue is like, neither do I. And she just lets go of Trask, and he just falls to his doom. And Morph is like, is this who we are now? And Wolverine is like, she did what we always wanted to do. And I'm like, oh man, this is this is getting kind of dark. But then Rogue is sort of giving a small speech about, hey, I have lost two people I love, because of this asshole. So I did what I had to do. And before she could finish her speech, you hear mutant threat detected, and then this loud explosion, boom! And it turns out that Trask mutated into a human/Sentinel hybrid. He was a sleeper Sentinel of some sort due to future technology, by the way. It was all due to future technology. So this Trask Prime, I guess you could call him, is just messing up the X-Men, right? And all of a sudden, they get saved. No other by the man from the future, Cable himself. He throws this special EMP grenade. I assume it was built from his timeline to take care of that Sentinel Prime hybrid. And I was like, oh, the title of this episode is called Bright Eyes, and Cable usually has that one eye that's always shining. And I was like, you know what? Clever wording for the title. Now I get it. Haha. But anyways, I probably breezed through a lot of stuff, but I want to get to episode 8. So we get tons of fun cameos in this episode that I was just geeking out over. I was like, no way, I feel like a kid again. But before I get to that, quickly get through the rest of Bastion's plans unfolding here, where I'm gonna briefly just breeze through a lot here. So we get all of these Sentinel Primes being activated around the world and chasing after our members of the X-Men in 3 different action sequences, or three different action scenes. First one being the Sentinel Primes going after Cable, Cyclops, and Jean Grey as they try to make their escape in the X-Jet. But of course, the Sentinels take out the X-Jet, and it's kind of funny because even Cyclops even kind of briefly comments on that. He's like, oh no, not again. Or he says something like, I'm not going through this again. And he just, or no, they all hop into his Porsche that he just conveniently had in this X-Jet. But it also makes sense because since the X-Jet keeps getting taken out, gotta have a plan B, right? He has to have another escape plan. So they're all driving around in this Porsche being chased by these Sentinels, which leads to another fun sequence where we get to see Jean Grey take over the steering wheel with her powers. Cable rips off the roof of the car, helps Scott Summers up. Cyclops is using his optic blast, blasting all of this rock and debris out of the way towards the front of the car caused by the Sentinel Primes, while Cable's shooting out towards the back of the car with his gun. I'm losing my mind at this point. I'm like, oh my god, this is fantastic. This is the kind of stuff that, you know, I would enjoy seeing in a comic book. This is, well, obviously a comic book come to life, but in animated form, obviously. So that was a fun sequence, seeing the Summers family, you know, work together against these Sentinel Primes. Second action sequence, we get to see all these Sentinel Primes go after Jubilee and Sunspot. And third action sequence is at the X-Mansion, where Rogue is still knocked out. She's recovering in bed, and she's being approached by these Sentinels. And I don't know if they planned on eradicating her or turning her into a Sentinel Prime as well. But that gets abrupted by Nightcrawler not holding 2, but 3 swords. He's holding a sword in each hand and an extra sword with his tail. And he is just slicing and dicing these Sentinels left and right while teleporting all over the place. And it is awesome. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is... Hell yeah, this is the kind of stuff I want to see out of an X-Men cartoon, and I'm grateful that this show exists. But, right, he gets joined shortly by Wolverine as he's chopping them up with his adamantium claws. So we have Wolverine and Nightcrawler holding 3 swords back to back, doing this awesome, or in this awesome duo combat action scene, tag team moment, whatever you want to call it. It was probably one of my favorite moments in the show, aside from the cameos. Seeing Wolverine and Nightcrawler team up to chop all of these Sentinels, or at least chop pieces off these Sentinels. They can reattach their limbs with the nanotechnology, whatever future technology that Nimrod brought from the future. So we get this cool point of view effect from Wolverine as Nightcrawler is teleporting a Sentinel and Wolverine outside of the building. But from Wolverine's point of view, we get to see this teleportive process through his eyes, and it's this weird, cool effect. But Wolverine shortly gets knocked up into the sky by the Sentinel Primes. But as he's falling back towards the ground, he's chopping up even more Sentinel Primes left and right with his adamantium claws. And I'm like, this is insane. This is, wow. This is badass, man. This is, once again, I'm grateful that this show exists. I'm grateful that I'm alive to see the return of X-Men 97 in all their glory with badass action sequences. So, Bastion drives, or no, he doesn't drive, but I'm assuming people that are working for him drives him to the mansion. He gets contacted shortly by Mr. Sinister, letting him know that the senator lady, again, I keep forgetting her name, who I'm speculating or assuming could possibly be Mystique, but the show has not given any clues to that being Mystique. But anyways, Sinister lets him know that she freed Magneto, right? And he's like, of course she did. And he goes back to the location to pretty much hold her captive, right? And she's giving the speech, like, you know what? After the whole thing that went down with Genosha and the Sentinel Primes, nobody's really surprised, not even Magneto, because one thing's for sure, Magneto was right. So Magneto, you see him like flying towards Antarctica, I think? I'm just going to assume it was Antarctica because there was a lot of ice and snow, and it was snowing as he flies towards this area, and he's not looking too happy. Well, by the way, he's still wearing nothing but his drawers this entire time. Like, he doesn't even care about putting on his wardrobe at this point. You just see him lift up his head, and he says, "Enough." And he lets out this huge electric magnetic pulse around the world, deactivating all of the Sentinel Primes. But while this is going on, we get to see a lot of cameos. A lot of cameos. By the way, not mentioning the cameos that showed up earlier on the show, which I'm going to mention them as well, but we get to see a cameo from Spider-Man himself. And it looked like the same Spider-Man from the 90s animated series. My favorite animated series of Spider-Man. I lost my friggin' mind when he showed up. I was like, oh, what the shit? Wait. So, is his spider senses going off because he can sense Magneto's electric magnetic pulse? Or whatever, his electrocomagnetic powers? Sorry, I'm getting too excited here. But yeah, he shows up. I'm like, what the shit? We get a cameo from Silver Samurai. I was like, oh, no fucking way. We get a cameo from Omega Red. Even though Omega Red was already a pre-existing villain, he's been on the show before in the older series. So that's nothing really to go crazy about. But I went crazy because I was like, oh, it's nice to see him, even though he's just a cameo. Because, last week or 2 weeks ago when they dropped the trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine movie, one of the things I said about that trailer is I want to see Wolverine and Deadpool fight a proper live-action Omega Red. Not no half-ass Omega Red where, he doesn't have the white pale skin and the red suit. No. I want to see a comic book accurate Omega Red in live action going up against Wolverine and Deadpool in that movie. And so far that was not shown in the trailers. I was kind of disappointed. I was like, really, MCU? You still couldn't give me Omega Red? But this show, even though it was just a cameo, they gave us Omega Red. And I was like, eek! I was being really giddy. But yeah, that was just a few of the cameos. I didn't even go over the other cameos earlier on, where we saw Bastion talking about his plans, but we saw these these computer screens. He was talking to other villains, and these other villains he was talking to was Dr.Doom and Baron Zemo. Dr. friggin' Doom. I was like, okay, so the MCU couldn't give us Dr. Doom, but X-Men 97 could give us Dr. Doom. Not only that, but they gave us Baron Zemo, Silver Samurai, Omega Red, and Spider-Man, and Captain America in the previous episode. All these fun cameos. I was like, this feels like it's Marvel done right. This is because this show is making me feel like a kid again. It's reminding me why I had so much fun reading these comic books back in the 90s and got into collecting the trading cards and the action figures. This feels like Marvel done right. I mean, don't get me wrong, still grateful that we got the Infinity Saga with the MCU, even though it was not completely accurate to the comics, but still grateful that we got most of that in live action form. But this show got me just so excited and so pumped. So after Magneto takes out all the Sentinel Primes with his electric magnetic powers, and we get to see all these fun cameos, Professor X returns. He crash lands at the X Mansion in this spaceship and this weird-looking alien suit. And he's like, I hope I'm not too late. And he sends out the signal. He sends out the signal with his powers, and he's like, to me, my X-Men. And that's where the episode ends. And I'm like, ah! So if you guys couldn't tell already, to quickly summarize how I feel about X-Men 97 since I covered the first 5 episodes, I'm still loving it. This show has been straight fire to me. Straight fire. Like, holy shit. This show is bringing back the feelings of simpler times. Back when I was younger in the 90s, not having a care in the world, just enjoying the stuff that I had a passion for, is bringing back those feelings. And to the haters that have been coming up with weird reasons why the show would suck before any of these episodes have aired, and again, not all the haters, only a certain subgroup, a certain subgroup of haters that have been coming up with strange reasons why why the show will fail and why it would suck. I don't know what to say to you guys. Just keep on hating, I guess. Even haters that are coming down to reasons why, oh, Rogue never had these powers in the comics. This show is a 0 out of 10. Like, really? 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 Just because of those tiny little things, you're just gonna completely disregard the whole show? Like, alright. Even the haters that told me that, no, Wolverine is gonna be 100% gay, this show is gonna fail. Like, huh? Where is proof of this, sir? Can you provide proof? Can you show me proof, sir? Instead of just spouting out weird reasons why this show is gonna suck. But anyways, as I said, not all the haters. I understand that a lot of haters, they don't want to watch the show due to Disney's track record and the whole ideology stuff going on in Hollywood and other media. But I watched the show, and I'm perfectly fine with it. It's awesome. I've been having a blast with all of the awesome, badass action sequences, all of the awesome cameos. I mean, come on. This show gave us cameos from Captain America, Dr.Doom, Baron Zemo, Omega Red, Silver Samurai. Who else? Spider-Man. Friggin' Spider-Man showed up for a brief moment. Come on. How can you not get excited over that stuff? Anyways, I'm still loving the show. I think I geeked out enough here. I think we have, what, 2 or 3 more episodes left. So whenever the rest of the remaining episodes air, I will do another video geeking out over those episodes, most likely. I'm just curious if in season 2 or season 3, if we're going to get the Onslaught storyline, because we never got the Onslaught storyline with the original show. So I'm curious about that. Could we possibly get Onslaught on the way? We'll see. Alright, Omega Primus signing out. Stay awesome.